my goodness. I'm recording. And I'm going to look at myself in the camera real quick because I look pretty good today. I did my beard. My hairline's a little messed up though. But, that just comes of being close to 30 years old. Anyway. Man, what do I say? I'm back. It took me a while to get to this point. There's so many things that I have to talk about in this recording, in this video, in this podcast. It literally took me a while to get back here, and I'm going to go into that in this video or in this podcast. If you're watching from the YouTube channel or if you're listening from the podcast, for those who are listening, y'all, my supporters, I want to thank y'all. So, don't worry, I wrote down some bullet points, leading up to me recording this video. So, just getting started, right? I want to start where this is something that I'm so glad that I eventually decided to get back to doing, because I kind of lost my way a little bit. It was just one of those things where life obviously gets in the way. You have to figure out what you want to do, what direction you want to go, stuff like that. And it all started like way back. I'm talking like back in March. So back in March, and I'm just going to go over my notes a little bit that I wrote down. So obviously I gave you my little intro because, I'm silly. I like to do things like that. But I also can be serious. I can be serious. No, I'm just playing. So I'm just going to talk about why I fell off. So starting off back in March, even prior to that, I want to say February, January. So around like January, February, I was kind of going through a little bit of personal issues, things that were going on within myself and with my family and stuff like that. But we worked things out and things were okay. But that didn't really disrupt me from doing this. So what really kind of put this to a stop was I was kind of going through some job changes. So I was recently working for one company that I was taking care of seniors at a senior home. So I had a little bit more time to upload and put videos out there and just have a lot more time. But what I was doing was I remember watching a Gary Vee video one day, and Gary Vee was talking about how much content you should be putting out there. So, he was saying put as much content as you can out there and keep staying consistent and putting content out there and consistent, as many videos as you can. So I was like, you know what? Let me implement that. Let me see how many videos I can get out there, how many lives I can get out there, how many posts I can get out there. So I started to do that. I started to fully invest into what I was doing. I was I had a vision. I was locked in at this point. I was like, you know what? Full speed ahead. I don't care what's in my way, right? Meantime, I wasn't fitting into my schedule me time. Being able to do the things that I love, spending time with the people that I love, and I was forgetting about them. So at that point, I was just doing things that was kind of messing me up, messing up my relationships, messing up my personal time with myself, keeping my mental health in check. So ultimately, I got burnt out. I got seriously burnt out. I was trying to build my side business. I'm trying to build this as a podcast, as uploads on video on YouTube. Ultimately, I got burnt out. And I had so many ideas. I had so many things that I wanted to do. Also, I went from becoming, basically I was working in a senior home to now becoming a correction officer. So doing that, I had to go through, the academy for 3 months, and I didn't even want to upload. I just wanted to focus solely on getting through the academy. And then once I got through that, I finally was like, okay, I got through the academy. I figured, okay, I'm going to eventually start to come back. But then, soon I was done, this thing called COVID has kind of messed up a lot of things for a lot of jobs. So I didn't realize that I was getting myself into a situation with this job that we were severe, and still to this time, at this current time, we are severely understaffed. So with us being severely understaffed, that means, guess what? You're mandated for overtime. And when I first started, I was getting mandated every single day. I'm talking like 16 hours every single day, 5 days a week. And the 2 days that I had off that I can say, hey, maybe those 2 days I can record, I was like, nah, I'm tired. So literally for those 2 days that I have off, I didn't feel like doing nothing. I was so tired. I couldn't do anything. So it just became at a point where I kept watching videos on YouTube about and self-educating myself on financial freedom and how to start building. And I started educating myself on index funds, on stocks, on trading, on stuff like that. And I started to get that itch again. Because at first when I started working at this job, I'm thinking, okay, I'm making a decent amount of money. But, as much as I always try to run away from being what I truly want to become and just say, forget this. I'm just going to be average. I'm not going to do this crap anymore. I just want to work a job that I like and make money and go home every day and have a family. I hate to say this, but this ain't the 1960s, though. That type of lifestyle doesn't exist anymore, where you can just work an 8-hour shift and go home and make a good enough amount of money to where you can work an 8-hour shift, go home, enjoy your family, enjoy your pet, have hobbies, and do the things that you love. Nowadays, we especially now, and I just researched this, we are in a time now where it's called the Great Resignation. Research that. They are calling this time period for millennials called the called the Great Resignation. What the Great Resignation is that a bunch of people are now quitting their jobs because they're burnt out. More jobs nowadays. We used to live in an era, like, and I talked about this with my dad not that long ago. I was telling Dad, when you were working, it was more about family oriented stuff, doing your hobbies, just doing your 8 hours and going home, making enough money to pay the bill so you can enjoy life. It's not about that no more. It's these jobs will pay you less and less and work you more and more. And this is a reason why we are in a Great Resignation, because people are getting tired. People are getting burnt out. And this is why nowadays, and this is a whole nother topic, I'm not going to get into this, but this is just another reason why a lot of jobs are having a hard time finding people, because they're getting burnt out. But that's just a whole nother topic. But yes, what ultimately brought me back was I saw a quote, and it's funny. It's like what TikTok and everything, right? I saw a quote on TikTok that somebody said, how did it go? You won't be thinking about, in 5 years from now, you won't be thinking about what it took to get there as far as the long hours and all that stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. You won't be thinking about how long it took you to get there. You'll just be thinking yourself that you even started. So that quote resonated with me as far as like, okay, whether you have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 3-year plan, whatever, you won't be thinking about how long it took you to get there. You'll just be thinking yourself that you did. So once I saw that quote, I was like, okay, it's time to come back. So I started game planning. I was like, okay, I was getting depressed too, because I was like, I don't have as much time as I should have to do what I need to do. Well, guess what? Sometimes things in life don't go the way you want it to go. And I had to realize that. I was like, oh man, okay. I'm going to have to reroute my plan. I'm going to have to reroute. Just, kind of like football, you have to play audible. Okay, all right. This plan didn't work. Time to go back to the drawing board. Time to go back to the chalkboard, figure out what game plan is going to work. So I sat down at work one day and just brought my notebook out, and I was like, what can I do to start uploading again? What can I do to get a consistent schedule? So I figure, and this is where I go into my plans from here on out. So here's my plan for at least day to day from here on out. I figured, okay, I know I'm going to have to work at least 16 hours, 3 days a week, right? There are maybe 1 or 2 days that I'll work just 8 hours. Granted, I'll probably be a little tired on those 8 days, so I might want to just kaput and sleep all day. But I got to start pushing myself to say, okay, I need to go to the gym. I need to, start planning for another podcast or episode, or plan for another video, or just self-education myself on something, or, work on my side business, whatever it is. And then what I'm planning to do is, instead of trying to upload every single day, because that can get tiring too, there's a little bit of burnout with that, I plan on uploading 2 days a week. That is the game plan from here on out. So 2 days a week is what I want to plan on doing. I'll have my podcast episodes up 2 days a week. I'll have my YouTube, I'll have the YouTube uploaded 2 days a week. And then whatever I upload on Facebook or Instagram, that'll be for you guys. So ultimately, this is how I'm going to start building the consistency and the momentum train that I'm trying to build. It's just being consistent with just 2 days. 2 days of content every single week. I don't have to upload every single day. If I had the time to do that, I would, but I don't have that time. So just 2 days a week is where I'm starting at. As far as my plans for this channel, as far as the YouTube channel, this podcast, what I'm doing on Facebook and YouTube, my plans for this, how I have this microphone set up and everything else, is this is going to be my therapy. This is going to be my opportunity to get everything out that I need. As far as this is going to be my journey towards financial freedom, my journey towards entrepreneurship, and just overall pushing myself forward to where I want to go in life. So somebody told me, so I saw another quote that someone hates that you have dreams and goals. You shouldn't have dreams and goals. You should have plans. Because if you have dreams and goals, that means you're not taking action towards something. All you're doing is just, I might get to it, or this is what I want to do, but I'm not doing anything about it. When you actually have a plan written down, you have a direction. You just have to execute it now. So that's why when I was sitting at work, I wrote down a plan about how I'm going to come back, what I want to put in a video, how I'm going to execute my plan. So for this podcast and this channel, I want it to be about positivity. That's number one, because there's not enough of that nowadays. So I want this to be nothing but positive. There's no negativity around here. If you're being negative, get on out of here, because I ain't got time for it. This is also going to be an educational channel. So I want this to be whatever knowledge that I pick up. And please understand, when I educate, like the previous videos that I've done, if you have not watched those videos, please go on YouTube and watch those. Or my podcast, you can go and listen to my podcast as well. Any of those videos that I've done, I educated myself first before I put it out there. So one thing that I've learned from a mentor of mine was that there's so many educational things out there for people, but people have their certain people they go to get educated. So prime example, so-and-so might be talking about how to finance your money, but you can't resonate with them or relate with them because they speak a certain way, they carry themselves a certain way, whatever. Me, on the other hand, I might have the background experience, so I'll talk about financial whatever. But because you might resonate with me a little more, you hear my voice and you see what I'm doing, you might decide to listen to me more. You might listen to that other person. So don't ever feel like you're not educated enough to talk about something, just because you don't have the whatever. If you educated yourself enough and you are successful with what you're doing, just because someone speaks a certain way and they have their following doesn't mean you can't build your own following. You might have the same credentials as that person and still build your own following, you know? So, you know, I try to educate myself every single day on something, whether I read a book or I watch an educational video or something like that. So, one, this channel, like I said, this channel is nothing but positivity. 2, is going to be educational. And 3, this is more importantly just going to be something that I plan on using this as an opportunity to vent. This is my little therapy therapy sessions, because, you know, therapy costs a lot of money. I'm just saying, therapy costs a lot of money. So, all in all, I'm just happy to be back. I'm glad that I have a plan of action written down. I'm glad that I had spoke to a couple people that I was in connection with when I was doing this full time. And ultimately, you know, I'm just glad to be back. I've even had my fiance, you know, nudge me back and say, "When you gonna start recording again?" And I'm like, okay, I need to pick the mic up. I need to start recording again. So, and also little things that I've also been thinking about for future the videos that I'm doing now too, is I noticed that there's sources, so many sources. Like I just learned about Fiverr. Fiverr is a app that you can use and hire somebody to do gigs for you. Like, say if you need your videos edited, if you need an intro for your podcast, if you need an intro for your YouTube video, there's so many things that you can do. They can edit your video, they can do a bunch of stuff, so you don't necessarily have to do all the work. Now, I want to learn how to do some video editing on my own. So, but I can also down the road, you know, if it's easier for me to hire somebody with the experience and can make the video look really good, I'm more than willing to do it. So, you know, this is exciting to be back. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I missed? I'm looking at my notebook here. Oh, one more thing. So I want this to be about mental wellness as well, too, because over the course between March and now, I've noticed that I have my ebbs and flows of my mental being, and just there are times where I'm up here and I'm like, yeah, I'm positive, I'm ready to go, I'm happy. And then there's moments where I'm like down here, like, man, I really am in a funk today. Like, I don't feel well. I don't, you know, and especially when I moved to Florida, like, it's not just the mental wellness too. My allergies have been terrible. I'm talking like I haven't been able to smell for like a week or whatever, but it's not COVID. Let's not go there. But my allergies have been on 100 since I moved down here. And so I've been trying little things different to try to help out with my allergies and stuff like that. But we're talking about mental wellness here. We're not talking about physical wellness, but physical wellness is important too. But as far as your mental wellness, I try to make sure that I do things that make me happy every single day. So one of the reasons why I felt my mental wellness go down because of how many hours I was putting in at my job and not being able to do the things that I like. So one of the things that most jobs nowadays don't understand is that when you are just stuck working all the time, you don't have the time or ability to recover your mental, because granted, I know they say if you do something or work a job that you love, you never feel like you work a day of your life. That is true. And I like what I do, but I don't like working. That's not the only thing I like to do. You know, I like to actually, you know, do my hobbies, build my side business, go towards what I really want, which is financial freedom, being an entrepreneur, and just ultimately beating the generational curse that is of poverty, you know, in my family. So, you know, mental wellness is very important, something that I will always talk about on this channel or on this podcast, because it is important to me. It is an imperative that you always stay on your mental wellness. You always make sure you make time for yourself and do the things that make you happy. Whether it's, I make this joke all the time, but if you saw my previous videos, knitting. If knitting makes you happy and knitting a sweater makes you happy, do it. If heck, even in like my little getaway is when I have time to sit down at like a lake or at the beach or something like that. I like a cigar and a drink. That's my little thing. I see and it's like it's very every time I feel like I'm smoking a cigar, I feel like wealthy people all the time. It's supposed to be like a celebratory thing. Cigars are supposed to be like a celebratory thing. A friend of mine a best friend of mine, close friend of mine, introduced me to cigars a long time ago. And it's not. I like to enjoy cigars. It gives me that sense that I'm doing something. And most of the time, I don't smoke cigars unless I feel like I've done something, like I earned this cigar, or I earned this drink, So it's kind of like a celebratory thing, So, but always do the things that keep your mental wellness in check, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this world right now that can affect your mental. Like I said, I don't go. With three things that I always try to avoid, especially doing this, and why this is a taboo. I shouldn't have to tell you why it's a taboo, but three things you should always avoid, whether it's making friends, doing your channel like this, or just being overall public figure, is you should never talk about money, you should never talk about sex, and you should never talk about politics. Those three things will ruin anyone's friendship, reputation, you name it. Because those three things right now are very detrimental in this world, and you don't want to cross paths with that. But most importantly, just do the things that make you happy every single day. This is what makes me happy. Doing something towards my future goals makes me happy. And I'm just excited to be back. There's really nothing more for me to say, but if you're watching this video, thank you so much. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you so much for your support. I don't care if it's only 10 people, 5 people, as long as you got the message of what I'm saying. The moral of the story of this video that I'm trying to say is, it's okay, and that's why I posted it on my social media earlier. It is okay to take a break sometimes, just as long as you get back to what you're doing. Get back to what you love. Get back to who you are as a person. Because I felt like, especially in those times where I was just working at my job 16 hours a day, 5 days a week, I felt like I was a slave to the system. Just plugging away, and just forgetting about myself and forgetting about who I am. It'll do that to you. A job will do that to you. You just can't let it do that to you. So, continue to do the things that make you happy every single day, and stand up for yourself. Don't let a job or anything tell you can't do something, or you should try to do something different, or this is a priority, or the job's a priority, or that is a priority. No, you are your first priority. That is the important thing that I preach about on this podcast or on this channel. You are a priority. You come first. Don't ever forget that. You are a priority. What you're doing is a priority. What makes you happy is a priority. And if people don't get that, then screw them. Get them out of your life. It's very important that you protect your peace. Because in 2021, that is hard to do nowadays. Make sure you are protecting your peace. Because no one else is going to do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. Stop listening to what people are saying to you about, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do that. If you live your life like that, you're never going to get anywhere. And I used to live my life that way, to where I used to listen to people's opinions and I used to dictate my life. Stop doing that. What I'm doing right now, I understand this is not going to be a destination where I can just drive 2 hours and boom, I am the most successful person in the world. No, this is going to be a journey, man. This is going to be a journey, and I don't care how long it takes me. A year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I will be what I want to be in life. I will be a successful entrepreneur with multiple streams of income. I will be somebody who is influential in this world. My influence will be powerful. I don't care if it's only 100 people that I influence. My influence will be powerful. And the reason why that I am so motivated and inspired to be back here is because there's not enough of this. There's not enough of people coming together and saying, let's motivate the world. Let's inspire the world. Let's motivate them to do better. I'm sorry, but it's tough being at the bottom, man. It's tough being a 99 percenter, or what it's called the 99%, the 1%. You know the difference between that, right? The 99 percenters are who we are, average working people every single day, and then you got the 1 percenters who are making money to, pretty much live, not living to work. So that's what I'm trying to do. Even if I don't want to be the most richest person in the world, I just really want to be wealthy enough to where I can live life to the fullest, to where I can focus on family, to where I can give opportunities to others to get out of poverty. That's been my goal and dream my whole life. I remember my first dream or goal was to get into the NFL when I was little. I used to go watch football. Literally every day I used to watch football, and I still do to this day. I love football. I love the NFL. Go Birds. I love the Eagles. But I used to have a dream of being in the NFL, and I used to just try to hone that dream every single day. But then I realized the struggles of becoming an NFL star and trying to, make it in the NFL. And, one thing that I've learned in the Black community that they don't do is preach other ways of coming up and getting out of poverty, which is whether you get a higher education and make a big money, or if you go after business and finances or something of that nature, whatever the case might be. So, it's always been a goal of mine to want to do big things. I don't know why. I feel like God has put it in my mind, in my plan, to be bigger than what I am. And I've always been that way. And I'm getting to the point where I'm, especially now as I'm about to turn 30 soon, I'm really at a point in my life where I don't care what people have to say or what people think. I'm more worried about doing the things that make me happy. And if that means becoming something bigger than what I think I can become, then I'm going for it. I'm going for it every single day, and I don't care how long it takes me. I'm willing to go for it. So, if that's you, go for it every single day. Do what you love, whatever it is, and make it into something. Instead of just making it your hobby, just make it something you can turn into an empire. So I'm glad to be back. That's all I want to say. I'm glad to be back. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you listen to my podcast, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching my video. Also, make sure you subscribe to me as well, too. Like, I have opportunities. You can subscribe to my podcast, subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on there as well, too. And I'm just so happy to be back, and I'm going to be coming back at you guys with more content. So stay tuned.